I loved her, but destiny took her away. This is not a story with a happy ending. This is a story of love, of dreams, and of pain. It begins in a very simple way, but it ends in tears. My name is Daniel. I am 24 years old. I live in a small town near the river. My life was quiet, almost too quiet. Every day felt the same. I woke up, went to work, came home, and slept. Nothing new happened. I thought life was boring, and I often asked myself, will something ever change? And then one day, everything changed. It was a warm spring morning. The sun was bright, and the air was soft. I decided to stop at the small cafe near my office before work. The cafe smelled of fresh bread and coffee. People were talking quietly. Some reading newspapers, some smiling at each other. And that is when I saw her. She was standing in line, holding a small book in her hand. She looked simple, but also very special. She had long black hair tied in a ponytail. She wore a light blue dress, and she looked like the sky. She had soft brown eyes, and when she smiled at the waiter, I felt something move inside me. I had seen many girls before, but this was different. She was different. When it was her turn, she asked for tea and a croissant. Her voice was gentle, like music. I could not stop looking at her. When she turned, our eyes met for 1 second. My heart beat faster. I wanted to talk to her, but I was shy. I told myself, don't be stupid. She will leave, and you will never see her again. But fate had another plan. She walked to a table near the window. The cafe was almost full, and only one chair was free at her table. She looked at me and said, would you like to sit here? There is space. I smiled nervously and said, thank you. And so, I sat down. That was the first step into love, though I did not know it yet. We started talking. She told me her name was Emma. She was 22 years old and studying literature. At the university, she loved reading books, especially poems. She wanted to be a teacher one day. I told her about my work at a small office. It was not exciting, but I liked it. I also told her I enjoyed drawing, though I was not very good at it. She laughed softly and said, if you draw with your heart, then it is already good. Her words stayed with me. We talked for a long time, forgetting about time itself. Finally, I looked at my watch and realized I was late for work. She smiled and said, maybe we can meet again? My heart jumped. I said quickly, yes, of course. She wrote her number on a napkin and gave it to me. That napkin became the most important thing I owned. From that day, Emma and I started meeting often. Sometimes we went to the park and walked for hours. Sometimes we sat in the cafe and talked about books, music, and dreams. Sometimes we went to the river and threw small stones into the water, watching the circles grow bigger and bigger. I learned many things about her. She loved flowers, especially roses. She loved the rain because it made her feel peaceful. She hated lies, even small ones. She believed love should always be honest. And I told her many things about myself too. I told her how lonely I felt before I met her. I told her how much I wanted to see the world, to travel to new places. And she said, maybe we can see the world together one day. When she said that, I felt like I could fly. One evening, after many weeks of meeting, we sat in the park under a tree. The sky was full of stars. I was nervous because I wanted to tell her something. My hands were shaking, and I felt my heart beating loudly. Finally I said, Emma, I think I am falling in love with you. She looked at me with her brown eyes. For a moment she said nothing. Then she smiled and her eyes became soft. Daniel, I feel the same, she whispered. That was the happiest night of my life. We held hands and the world felt perfect. From that moment, our love grew stronger. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. We celebrated birthdays together. We watched sunsets. We wrote small notes for each other. She once wrote on a piece of paper, When I am with you, I feel safe. I feel at home. I kept that paper in my wallet and read it many times when I was alone. We made plans for the future. I said I wanted to draw again, maybe even open a small art shop. She said she wanted to teach children and make them love reading. Together, we dreamed of a little house near the river, with flowers in the garden and books on every shelf. Our love was simple, but it was real. It was strong, but life is not always kind. One day, Emma told me she had to travel back to her family's town for a while. Her father was not feeling well, and she needed to help. She promised it will only be for a short time. I will come back soon. I felt a little afraid, but I trusted her. We hugged tightly before she left. For the first few weeks, we talked every day on the phone. She told me about her father, about the quiet town, about how much she missed me. I told her how empty everything felt without her, but slowly her calls became shorter. Sometimes she did not answer. Sometimes she said she was busy. I told myself, she is just tired. She has problems. Don't worry. But deep in my heart, I began to feel a small fear. One rainy evening, I sat in the cafe alone. The same cafe where we first met. I looked at the empty chair in front of me and remembered her smile. I remembered her voice. I felt lonely again, the same loneliness I felt before she came into my life. And then a thought came to me. What if she never comes back? I shook my head and told myself not to think like that. But the fear stayed. I loved her deeply, more than anything. And I prayed she would return soon. That was the beginning of the storm, but I did not know it then. I thought our love was strong enough to survive anything. I thought destiny would be kind to us. I was wrong. I loved her, but destiny took her away. I thought our love was strong enough. I thought nothing could break it. But sometimes, love is not enough. After Emma left for her family's town, I tried to stay strong. I told myself, she will come back. She promised. But weeks became months, and still, she was not with me. At first, she called me every night. We talked about small things, what she ate, what book she was reading, how her father was feeling. Her voice made me feel close to her. Even though she was far away, I felt we were still together. But slowly something began to change. One evening, I called her, and she answered after a long time. "Hello, Emma," I said, smiling even though she could not see me. Her voice was soft but tired. "Hi, Daniel. Sorry, I was busy today." "Busy with what?" I asked carefully. "Just family things. My father needs me. And I am also helping my cousin with her work." I wanted to ask more, but I stopped. I did not want to sound jealous or afraid. I trusted her, but after that day, her calls became shorter. Sometimes she didn't answer at all. Sometimes she called only once every few days. I felt a small hole growing in my heart. I tried to fill my days with work, but nothing helped. Every place reminded me of her. The park where we sat under the stars, the cafe where we first met, the river where she laughed and threw stones. I even stopped going to the cafe. I could not bear to sit at the table alone. At night, I lay in bed and thought of her words. Maybe we can see the world together one day. I whispered to myself, yes, one day, one day. But that one day felt farther and farther away. After 3 months, I decided I could not wait any longer. I wanted to see her. I wanted to hold her hand again. So I bought a bus ticket to her town. The road was long and full of turns. I looked out the window and imagined her smile. I told myself, she will be happy to see me. She will run into my arms. Everything will be fine. When I reached her town, I asked people where her family lived. Finally, I found the small house. At the end of a quiet street, I stood in front of the door, my heart beating fast. I knocked, and then I saw her. She opened the door slowly. Her face was pale, and her eyes looked tired. But she was still beautiful, still my Emma. "Daniel?" she said in surprise. Emma, I whispered, almost in tears. I missed you so much. She didn't smile. She didn't open her arms. She only looked at me for a long time. Finally, she said, "Why did you come here?" Her question cut me. Like a knife. "I came because I love you," I said softly. "I wanted to see you. I wanted to be with you." She looked away. "Daniel, things are different now." My heart dropped. "Different? What do you mean?" She didn't answer right away. She took a deep breath and finally said, "I don't know if I can come back. My father needs me, my family needs me, and—" She stopped. "And what?" I asked, my voice shaking, and maybe I changed. The words hit me harder than anything. "Changed? Emma, please. Tell me you still love me." Her eyes filled with tears. "I don't know what I feel anymore." I reached out to hold her hand, but she pulled away. That night I sat outside her house on a bench, staring at the dark sky. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't breathe. The world felt heavy. The next morning, I tried to talk to her again. "Emma, don't push me away. We dreamed together. We promised each other." She whispered, "Sometimes promises break, Daniel. Life is not like a dream. Life is heavy. I have to think about my family. I have to think about myself. But what about us?" I cried. She looked at me with pain in her eyes. Maybe there is no us anymore. I wanted to fight for her. I wanted to scream. But deep inside I knew. Love cannot live if only one heart holds it. Love needs two people. And she was slipping away. Before I left, I asked her one last time, "Do you love me?" She stayed silent. And that silence was the answer. I returned to my town with a broken heart. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. The cafe was still there. The river still moved. The park still had stars. But without her, they were empty. I tried to draw again, but every picture looked like her face. I tried to read, but every word reminded me of her voice. I tried to smile, but my smile felt fake. I was lost. Weeks later, I received a small letter from Emma. My hand shook as I opened it. It said, "Dear Daniel, I am sorry. I cannot come back. Please don't wait for me. Please live your life. Be happy. You will always be a part of my heart, but we cannot be together. Emma." The paper fell from my hands. I sat in silence for hours, maybe for days. I don't remember. That was the end. Now, months have passed. People tell me, time will heal you. But the truth is, time does not heal everything. Some scars stay forever. I still walk by the cafe sometimes. I still sit by the river. I still look at the stars. And I whisper her name. I loved her. I still love her. But destiny took her away. And this is the story of how love ended. Not with a wedding, not with forever, but with silence and goodbye. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay inspired.